Hi, this is Emily with Emily Jo Yoga, and I am inviting you to practice a Yin Yoga practice with me today. The theme is cooling the storm inside you. Before we dive in, I just want to talk about a couple things. I refer in my in-person classes to Yin as that weird yoga. We have different names in Yin Yoga than we do in our typical Hatha practices. And rather than flowing through with one movement, one breath, we hold for like a long time. So you'll notice that I have my resources with me today. I've got my phone here with my practice and my timer pulled up. I've got my tea, and I've got a ton of equipment here around me. When we hold these poses for a long time in the deepest iterations of the stretch that feels safe and comfortable and sustainable in our bodies, we want to make sure that we use our wisdom to use the tools that will make the practice as deep and comfortable as it can be on a given day. So, blocks, they bring the earth up to you. Bolsters are going to provide support so that the intensity isn't uncomfortable. And then we also have blankets. Blankets can, cushion under your knees, slightly elevate the hips. You can roll it under your neck. You can do anything you need. And then we also have a strap, and that extends the reach. So if you have all these tools at home, cool. If you don't have them, you're gonna get creative and use what you do have. Books instead of bolsters. The blanket off the couch instead of a yoga blanket. Excuse me. A blanket off the couch instead of a yoga blanket. A pillow instead of a bolster. A robe belt or a necktie for a strap. Feel free to be as creative as you want, and please don't be limited by how I demonstrate or cue with these resources, with your props. So we are going to start today in our supported child's pose. So in Yin, poses that might be easy or quick in a Hatha practice become a lot more intense when we add tools and hold for a long time. So for our supported child's pose, you might have a bolster available lengthwise on your mat. You might take your knees wide apart, and you could have a blanket under your knees, or you could have the blanket underneath your thighs. All right. So for supported child's pose, we are going to lengthen those arms out long. Relax the upper body down onto the bolster and let those hips be heavy. So this is our arrival into our practice. I want you to let your body know it's safe to slow down. You are held. In a Yin practice, you might hold a posture for upwards of 3 minutes to 7 minutes even, which is a different kind of intensity. We'll keep it a little bit shorter for this video, so about 3 minutes in each posture. And we're going to focus on the breath. Smooth inhale. Complete exhale. So you might feel the muscles between your ribs expand. You might feel your belly against your legs or your bolster. All right, we're gonna go ahead and slowly support ourselves up and out of our child's pose and make our way to a seat with the legs extended as we prepare for caterpillar, our seated forward fold. For caterpillar, you might want to have your bolster underneath your knees, especially since we haven't warmed up. We don't really warm up in a yin practice. We soften into these shapes rather than heating into these shapes. Remember, you could have your blanket under your hips, or you could have it over your lap. All right, so feel free to use your props how you like. I've got a strap here, and I actually have it buckled up. If yoga straps confuse you, it's typically in through and then out, in through one side, out through the other. So you can do it, I believe in you. But when we use a strap, what we're doing is letting our body release some of the effort and allowing the strap to take over some of that work that the body does. So in this case, when I take a strap around the balls of my feet and down on my hips, I'm gonna be able to let the connective tissues, the ligaments and the tendons in my legs stop doing the work, and the strap's gonna take over for me. It takes some work to play around with the length of the strap, but you got nothing but time, right? All right, so I've got a blanket, I've got a bolster, I've got a strap. You can use all of these or none of these, but we're gonna start seated upright. Let's take those arms parallel to the legs. We're gonna keep the spine long, and then as we lean forward, we're gonna hinge just at the hips, not the mid-back. When you get to the full edge of that stretch, we're gonna relax the arms down. If you have any low back problems, stay right here, you're good. You might just relax your head, neck, and shoulders. If you wanna go a little bit deeper, we're gonna lengthen through the crown of the head, hinge at the hips, relax the belly over the thighs, and maybe stretch those arms forward, or just let the arms be heavy. So this is caterpillar pose. Try to have that soft spine. Let your upper body and your lower body be heavy. You might note the sensations in your body. Where do you feel? What do you feel? Try to notice if there's anywhere you are holding tension or experiencing tightness. Can you adjust to give yourself more support? And then can you soften to release and allow yourself to be heavy, to be held? Inhale softly, roll up and out of that shape. And when you move out of a Yin Yoga pose, I want you to treat your body parts like you walk after your foot falls asleep. Real gingerly, real slow, with a lot of support. No whipping things around or moving too fast. You're gonna step carefully. We're gonna move to dragon pose, which is the yin variation of our lizard pose. And again, set yourself up in the way that feels best. I'm gonna have the blanket for my back knee, and I'm going to have blocks available for my hands. All right, so we're gonna start with your right leg forward. From our tabletop, we're gonna step right foot between the hands, but then we're gonna take that right foot out to the right edge of the mat. So you're gonna take your right hand to the inside of your right foot, heel toe that right foot out to the edge of the mat, and you might stay lifted, or you might find a way to lower down to the inside of that leg. And you can hold that there. I'm gonna flip around real quick to provide a different angle for the camera. So just so you can see from the front, we've got right leg forward, so lunge, and then right hand to the inside of the right leg. Heel toe that right foot out, so you've got room in the hips to hold on the inside. And you can stay lifted, or you can lower down. You're gonna do what's comfortable in your body, but you can also add other supports. So bolster right on that back thigh to take some of that weight out of that hip stretch. And then, again, your hands could be on the mat, or forearms on the mat or the blocks. If you want to add a little more intensity, you could bend the back knee. You decide if that quad stretch feels good. It's up to you. As you hold the shape, you might find that you can access a little more depth, and that movement might be a millimeter deeper, or it might be significantly deeper. You're just going to listen to what feels good in your body. We'll inhale, gently lift up. And we're gonna move to the other side. So step that right foot back. Maybe you add in a little child's pose as a counter pose. You're allowed to add whatever you want. It's your practice. When you're ready, we're gonna swap it out. Left foot forward. You might step just to the outside of the foot, or you might start in that lunge and move left hand to the inside of the left foot. So you might notice wild differences from side to side. You might think, man, I could go all the way down on the other side, but this side I gotta stay all the way up. Yes, life does things to our body. Your body goes with you every day, everywhere you go, and survives everything it experiences, you experience. So there are differences from left to right, whether it's from hauling a baby on a hip or how you carry your backpack or briefcase. honor those differences, no judgment. Again, feel free to soften, deepen, explore. It's usually about this time in the practice when, especially with these long holds and extended silences, the mind or body might start to become restless. And I want to let you know that it's okay. It's okay to feel that discomfort, that edginess. If you're able, take a deep breath and let yourself know, I am okay. All right, slowly moving up and out, back to your child's pose. Our next shape will be shoelace pose. So we'll talk through that. Shoelace is wonky and wild, but I want you to know that you have choices. All right, we're gonna come to a comfortable seated sit. You can start in cross-legged if that works. Shoelace pose is the yin variation of cow face pose. So thinking knee over knee, or tying those legs up. If it's uncomfortable, don't force it. I care more about your meniscus than I care about whether or not you can force your body into this shape. Also, we'll use our tools. So real quick, just to model, it would be knee over knee, hips planted down, potentially shins in one straight line, feet flexed. Is that gonna work for every body on every day? Absolutely not. You have options. So first of all, you might start right leg in front of left, your comfortable seated position, and that's good enough. From here, you could lean forward. If you're still in shoelace pose, you could lean forward, keeping those sit bones pointed down. If you're somewhere in between those two, you want more intensity, but not quite that extensive full shape, then you can add props, or you could do your left heel toward your right hip, your right foot planted in front. See if maybe you can get those knees a little more aligned, pulling those heels toward the hips. And from here, you might find it comfortable to fold forward. Next up, if you really want the stretch in the outside of the hip, you could have left leg forward, right foot on top, kind of like pigeon, right foot flexed, and a block underneath that lifted knee. And hinge forward. And then, of course, like I showed at the beginning, you could have knee over knee. It's fine if those heels come toward your hips. If this top foot doesn't come down on the mat, you can place a block or a blanket underneath it. And here, either holding your feet or walking those arms forward, we can drape belly over thighs. Find your comfortable, supported shoelace pose. gonna move to the other side, supporting those legs as you go. So this time, left leg on top, right leg on bottom, and you're either gonna have your left knee bent and supported, or right heel toward left hip, left foot on top or supported, or left knee on top of right, hip square. And if you notice that left foot floating up, you're going to give it a place to find home. You could have your bolster or your blanket underneath your hips, and if it's not full knee over knee, that's okay too. Again, you don't have to keep the straight line. You could pull your heels closer to your hips, and you'll notice there's differences from right to left side. Honor them. Heart lifted, hinge at the hips, full down. Is there any place you're holding tension that you can soften? In these long holds, I want you to know that you have agency to move. You are not captive. You are not stuck for 3 minutes in a shape that doesn't feel like home. So if you need to, move out, adjust, soften back in, or find a different shape. It is your practice. Inhale, softly release. Support the legs. We're just going to extend them long and just rock those hips side to side, roll those ankles side to side. There's no right or wrong, nothing prescribed. We're going to move into thread the needle, a great shoulder stretch. And there's a ton of ways to play with it. I want you to find what feels best in your body. All right, make your way to all fours, tabletop position. I don't think I'll use any props on this, but you're welcome to decide for yourself what provides the best support for you. All right, knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. We're gonna start by taking your left arm up to the sky. And then we're gonna slide the left arm under the right, relaxing on the left shoulder and the left temple. And that's it. That is thread the needle. You should feel the stretch in the shoulder. You might feel it plenty of other places, and that is not at all wrong. But you can amplify this shape in a lot of different ways. You might extend right arm long overhead and or right foot extended out. Some people like to add a half bind, raising that right palm, flipping it backwards, and bending at the elbows toward the left hip crease. Some people like to lift their right leg, even drop their heel toward their glute. You could even reach and grab your ankle if it were accessible to you today. I have definitely rolled out of this shape before. Now, if your arms start to get tingly or numb, Know that you don't have to stay here super long. You can also adjust to make sure that you're not compressing any nerves. We're enjoying the stretch, not pressing as deep as we can force. We're going to swap it out. Take it back up to tabletop. And we're going to do that all again on the other side. Right arm up, thread under the left, resting on the shoulder and the temple. So this isn't enough, this is it. Or you can play with the shape however you like. We're going to be here a little bit. Keep focusing on that deep, smooth breath. Inhale. Exhale. Gently unwinding. And we're going to move to our dragonfly, our wide-legged forward fold. So taking those legs out in front of us. A reminder that wide-legged forward fold is anything wider than together. You might come out to the edges of your mat. You might splay wider. It's up to you and what feels good. Typically, I guide that if you have to lean back or forward to get the legs spread that far, you should walk those legs in. We're going to be holding for a little bit, so make sure you have the supports you need to allow you to hold the depth you prefer in the most sustainable way. All right, so starting with the heart lifted, you might raise those arms or just walk them forward. We'll hinge at the hips and soften and fold. And you can drape in any way. It doesn't have to look like anything specific. This is our dragonfly, the yin variation of wide-legged forward fold. See if you're able to relax your jaw, your shoulders, your hands. right, gently easing up out of that stretch. We're gonna take our half butterfly or half bound angle. So we're gonna keep the right leg where it's at and draw that left foot in. You could keep it right at center, like your butterfly, or you could pull it in towards your groin or towards your right leg. It's up to you, but we're gonna hinge forward again. So you might want blocks or bolsters. We're gonna start with the heart lifted and hinge forward. So similar to your wide-legged seated forward fold, but you might be able to have a little more depth just doing the one leg. I want to talk just a little bit about the benefits of a Yin Yoga practice. I mentioned earlier that we don't warm up in Yin, and that's typically by design. It's certainly an excellent thing to do to warm up in a fitness practice, and I encourage that. Warm up and cool down. In Yin, in that safe and sustainable way where you soften and deepen into a stretch, we do go into them without warming up the big muscle groups because we're trying to go past just stretching the muscles into our connective tissues, our ligaments, our tendons, our fascia, our joint capsules, to reach those spaces, which happens better typically if we haven't done some big warm up with those big muscle groups. So it is by design. All right, we're going to switch to the other side. Support the leg as you move. Right foot in, left foot out. Heart lifted. Hinge at the hips. Support however you prefer. Gently lift up. We're going to come onto our backs and move into a reclined twist. There are lots of ways to do reclined twists, and I encourage you to take your favorite. I'll cue with a fairly basic one that I like for depth. So we're going to come down onto our backs. Knees bent, feet flat. You might have your arms out to a T. We're gonna take that right leg and cross it over the left. all the way from up your upper back to the bottom of your tailbone into your hips. Deep breath, soft into the belly. Let that belly expand and release. Inhale back up to center. We're going to swap out to the other side. So unwind, adjust the hips. Find a comfortable reclined position. Cross left over right. Gaze over your left fingertips. And let those knees fall to your right. Again, left shoulder stays down. Legs are heavy to the right. You might be gazing out over left fingertips. Soften the gaze or close the eyes. Feel yourself melting, softening, deepening. With control, nice and slow, we'll draw those knees back up to the sky. And we're moving into our happy baby. So you might have heels at hips, hands to ankles, letting those hands weigh heavily on those shins to pull the stretch into the hips. Or you might slide those hands to the outsides of the feet, elbows to the insides of the knees as we lift those feet flat to the sky. And you could be right here in stillness, or you might rock side to side. Sometimes individuals like to straighten one or both legs. Babies don't wonder if the shape is right. Happy babies just move how it feels right. Good. All right, we're gonna move into supported fish. And supported fish is a heart opener, back stretch. And we'll do this either with a block under between the shoulders, or perhaps more comfortably, a bolster lengthwise under the spine. I like to elevate my hips just a little bit, and that helps me not feel like I'm having a huge back bend. And then sometimes, depending on the bolster or my body on a given day, it's helpful to have a block available for under your head, just in case it's not hitting at a comfortable place. So, hips right up against that bolster. We're gonna lay back. And you've got that bolster in line with your spine. You might have the arms down by the sides in your traditional fish pose. Note the back bend we have here and make sure that it's comfortable in your low back. Take the time to wiggle and move until you feel supported. You could also open those arms, palms up, or take your arms wherever they're comfortable. Don't worry too much about the direction of your toes. We'll be here for a bit, so let's breathe as we stretch the heart and chest and shoulders and back. We'll move into our reclined bound angle. We're almost set up for it right now. Now, first of all, know that you can do this without any props at all, or you can use as many props as you want. To get out of fish, it might be most comfortable to roll onto one side off that bolster. All right, supported bound angle is one of my favorites. And I'm gonna use pretty much all of my props at hand. Again, you can do this just on your back. All right, so I'm gonna take blocks underneath my bolster. I happen to have multiple widths of blocks, which is super handy. But I'm gonna have my bolster elevated to provide support for my body. I'm also going to use my strap. This time's a little bit different. We're going to go around the hips and then inbound angle underneath the feet. And I'll tighten that up when I get into my shape. And that blanket is there to go underneath the ankles. So feet are whatever distance apart, away from the torso, away from the groin as you feel comfortable. We're getting there. Taking the strap wherever you need. Never worry that you're taking too long to get into the shape. It's better to be comfortable, supported, safe, sustainable. And again, this allows the strap to take over the effort from my body. I'm going to elevate those ankles and hope I don't knock my blocks over when I lean back. So, spine supported, ankles on a soft surface, strap doing the work of my legs, letting the arms relax down. in standing goddess or reclined goddess on our backs, we might have the arms up at goalpost. That's kind of a lot of work because we can't reach here. But if you want that shoulder stretch, you might have your arms out at a T, or you could do hands behind head. It's your shape. Find what works for you. You are welcome to pause the video and stay here as long as you like. We've got just a couple more shapes here today in our yin practice. The next is our inversion, our legs up a wall. I'll use an imaginary wall today. You're welcome to actually take your hips up against a wall. You're welcome to do this with no props or all the props. You know the drill. Your practice, your choice. So for legs up a wall, which is a wonderful, accessible inversion, we'll be ready with a block and maybe a strap, but not quite so tight. We're gonna go all the way from hips to feet if you're using it. So feel free to stretch it out now. All right, so on your back, you can start with your knees bent, feet flat. I'm going to take this block underneath my hips, and that's going to take it from just legs up the wall to a little bit more of an inversion with my hips slightly elevated above the heart, which is good for circulation. So hips on block, and then we're gonna take those legs straight up, again with or without the strap, it's up to you. Lengthening those legs, finding your comfortable support. Arms can be wherever you like. You could have the blanket under your head, or hands behind your head, or arms down. But we're gonna take several deep breaths here. can stay right here if you're happy. Otherwise, we're gonna move into our final relaxation. As always, you're welcome to take any restorative shape that feels good to you. So you might roll onto your side or come back to that reclined bound angle. I'll cue into corpse. I want you to feel free to keep your knees bent if you have any back problems, or your bolster under your legs if that's more comfortable. Otherwise, we'll stretch those legs out long. Heels wider than hips, toes open. Arms down by the sides. Option to tuck one shoulder blade under and then the other to lift the heart. But then we'll exhale as we melt the spine and the weight of the head onto the floor. Palms could be down or up. And we'll start to move into that deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. As best you can, try to relax your scalp, your forehead, your cheekbones and jaw. You can stay here as long as you need. If you're ready, we'll bend the knees, feet flat to the floor. Stretch one arm long overhead and then roll onto that side. You can stay right here or even wrap yourself up a little more into a ball. This is a moment for integration, for gratitude, for deciding how to take this calm depth of strength with you into your day. And let the stress roll off you like those raindrops. When you're ready, you can use your arms to push up to a comfortable seated position on your mat. We'll raise those arms together, palms together, down through to your heart. 3 last breaths here. And if you like, you can bow. Namaste.